Sorry. Hello, everybody. I think we've already got 40 people watching. So hello to everybody, and thank you very much. We've got Richard, the Welsh leader, one of the most amazing guys that I've heard, doing some of the amazing speeches that you've done recently, Richard. I knew you always done some of the very good speeches, but hearing you in Newcastle recently, I think that was one of the greatest speeches. So take it over.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much. Well, credit to the crowd, really, because they draw it out of you, don't they? When they're passionate, they draw the passion out of you. So, yeah, so they're the ones that deserve the credit. But I really enjoyed it. It was a great launch. It was full of excitement, and there was a real buzz and an atmosphere. It was great.
Well, good. And hello, Rogue. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no. Thank you very much for coming on. And I know a lot of people have got a lot of questions because, with the popularity that Advanced UK have reached, it comes with a lot of people being hateful, saying, talking lies and all these things. But obviously, we come to that later on. But I think what we need to talk about is the positivity. And obviously, Richard, you can tell us about the members and how quickly you have reached the members that you've got today. So if you can let us know.
Well, I think Ben set the target at 30,000, as you recall, when he launched the party back in June. And the idea is that when you get to 30,000, it would indicate to him that there's an appetite in the country for people wanting an alternative party to the rest that were out there. And I think what Ben did was wise. We reached that in record time, actually. I think we're one of the fastest growing political parties in like 4 or 5 months to grow to 30,000. It's just absolutely nothing short of a miracle. It's incredible. So it does show there's a real appetite in the country for people who want real change, and a party that's different from the rest that currently exist, because quite frankly, we're the only single party that is democratic, that stands for sovereignty, nation state, equality under the law, and freedom of speech. Now, other parties will claim to those tags, if you like, and slogans, but when you look at their policies and you look at the way that they deliver some of their speeches and some of the flip-flopping from some of the leaders like Farage, it's very different to actually what Ben Habib has set the course to be. And I think that was evident at the launch on Saturday in Newcastle. It was packed to the rafters. I know that Rogue was there, and she was on the top tier, so it was absolutely boiling a bit. I could see her just fanning herself like this. Liam Tufts and Sai and all of our friends, Dave Connell, who's beyond later as well. And it was great to see so many people positive, enthusiastic, excited, and a sense of hope again, and it was a joyful occasion, something that we miss in politics because people get so down about it and negative about it, but yet there's so much to be positive about. And I think the membership really is a result of people who say, look, I've had enough. We need to save our nation. We're faced with national security issues right now. Our country has changed massively. women and children, we have to protect them at all costs. We have to protect our culture, our history, our heritage, all the things that make this nation great. And I think seeing so many people there from Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and of course, good old Wales was amazing. And I'm sure Rogue will tell you herself from her point of view. For me, it was just an absolute wonderful occasion, and getting to meet so many wonderful people as well, members of the college, but more importantly, just normal members who, support what Advance UK stands for. It was exceptional. And I'm sure those that attended would echo those sentiments as well.
Right. Yeah, I think, when sort of I arrived, I didn't know how many people were going to be there, because obviously we'd had, the initial shock, hadn't we? 6 days before, we weren't allowed to go to a particular venue. So there was this kind of mad chaos around, oh my goodness, we have to find, the next venue, and we have to find somewhere that will actually house us and is not going to be reactive again. And we kind of turned up, and to be fair, there's a guy called Nick that actually just did a stealth job, an absolutely amazing job, because he turned it around and we were all there. We all managed to fit in, and it was brilliant. But do you know what the thing was actually that I found is that the morale was so strong, because we'd been tried, to stop us and to thwart our plans, to then actually achieving it still. And it was so exciting, because we were like, we're here, we've done it, and our voices were together, because we know the purpose that we have being under the banner of Advance UK.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So before we start anything, I just want to say something. I know, Richard, you might know him. I think, Rogue, you might know him as well. He's one of the legends of YouTube, one of my very close friends, one of an amazing guy. He has joined us. I know he's a very busy man, but I've invited him because, you know what? I think this legend needs to be on this stage, and let me bring him on. I don't think he needs any introduction, by the way. So I'm not going to introduce him. Everybody knows. He's going to take over this channel now. Watch when I bring him in.
Mate,
Look who it is.
Hey, Paul! That's a big surprise. I wasn't
Robbie
expecting
Williams
that.
for a minute.
Yeah.
And you end up with this Wally.
Oh, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much for coming on. I know you're a busy man, and thank you so much for coming on, man. It's
Always
he's
a pleasure,
a
my
legend.
friend.
He's an
Always
amazing
a pleasure.
guy.
No, thank you very much. I've been looking after my granddaughter. She's just gone home, so.
Good.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, been doing my duties today.
Grandad duties.
Oh yeah, always.
So yeah,
what's
Richard,
going on?
Paul, you can ask him anything you want to. Like I said, I had to bring him in. I had to.
And we're excited. It's great to have you on. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's really appreciated. I don't know why, but it's appreciated anyway. Thank you so much.
I think, Paul, what was exciting, I know that you streamed the launch near in Newcastle, and you had loads and loads of interactions and with members of the public. What was it like for you, watching it, obviously, because of where you are, and the people who watched your show that night? What was that like for you?
Very frustrating, to be honest with you, because my heart was with you guys in Newcastle, but also a sense of pride in that we could bring that stream, because Ben's stream didn't go ahead. It was stuck on a blank screen. So we had thousands of people coming over to our stream and to some other streams as well. And the togetherness during the chat was just amazing. It was like one big happy family. We was running, bits and pieces during the stream. Have you joined already? Are you already a member? If not, are you going to join today? Please join today. So from a PR viewpoint, I probably was able to definitely was able to do more from here than I was if I'd have been in Newcastle. So yeah, sense of pride. But more than anything, I think the number one thing that I would take from the launch is the togetherness, and what a group of amazing human beings. And amazing human beings. In stark contrast to what we've been looking at over the last few days with that lot that's been,
Yep.
I'm very humbled and very proud to be a part of this team, of this group of Advance UK. And it's very humbling, I've got to be honest with you, to be involved with you guys. You're all amazing. You all do brilliant jobs. and the togetherness for everyone is just, it's almost like, I'm a big football man, and it's almost like supporting your team, you know, that camaraderie that football fans have.
Yep.
They might not see each other for weeks, months sometimes, but they have this bond. And I feel that that's the way that Ben is building it, is the way that Ben is building Advance, and the manner in which it's being done is giving us that bond that we've not had anywhere else.
Yeah, it certainly felt like that, Paul. It felt like a dawn of a new era for me, because like you, I've been to, you know, different political rallies over the years, you know, and experienced them. It just felt so different. It felt so unique. It felt close. It felt community. It felt family. It didn't feel like the speakers were detached from the members of the public. You know, we didn't have entourages, you know, moving us around. We mingled with everybody. We talked for hours. In fact, they had to kick us out of the restaurant at the end because we didn't want to leave. We didn't get to the pudding. I mean, it was just so fantastic. And Ben was so personable. I mean, he spoke to hundreds and hundreds of people, shook so many hands, had photos with so many people. You know, there were independent journalists there. We are the media now, lot, Paul, you know, and got interviews done. And Ben was just extraordinary in his approach. He was late because, of course, we know that, first of all, the venue was cancelled. Then someone tried to kill themselves on the railway track. So, you know, the left tried to stop him getting there, and so did the railway. But he still got there in the end. And as he walked in, the crowd just rose, you know, in such anticipation. And it was a buzz in the air. Not because of a man in particular, but a man who is standing up for principles that will save this nation. And I think people could not just see it, they could feel it. And I think it's important in politics that people catch that fire. And it was lit in that launch. I mean, in fairness, as Rogue has mentioned, the way they tried to cancel us, there were counter protests. We had the Palestinian lot down the road. We had other protests going on at the same time. But I have to say, hat off to Nick and the guys in Floss and everyone else about organising it. It was just a tremendous, tremendous event, and something I'll never, ever forget, apart from the fact that every time I looked down at my notes, my hair's so long, it was falling in my face. Back all the time. Someone said I look like Steve Coogan. Someone said I look like Richard Hammond. So I don't know. But look, it was fantastic. But I want to say, one of the highlights I think Ben mentioned was that young lady called Kendall, just 17 years of age, just sharing how she'd been cancelled in her college and everything else through her education with the trans issues and things like that. And she spoke so bravely about her experience. That really, really, in fact, she got a standing ovation. Out of all the speakers, all of us that have done lots of public speaking, she was the one who got the standing ovation, and rightly deserved. And I think it was a tremendous occasion. And it has set the course, because let's not forget, we're going to have many more of these. And I'm going to remind the viewers tonight that we're having our first Welsh launch on the 1st of November in Newport. And I can't tell you where else, except it's going to be in Newport on the 1st of November. And tickets will be available to members only straight after this podcast or this live stream tonight. So you'll get an email. Check your email boxes. There's an email blast going out to you, to our members. We've already sold some tickets as well, so you need to get in quick, because we're going to sell out pretty quick, I should imagine. Rogue, is that okay if I push that? Is that all right?
Of course. That's why we're here today. That's why we're here today. So yes, of course you can push that. Yeah.
You know, one of the comments that I was getting on Saturday during the live stream, one or two people said, "Oh, it's not as razzmatazzy as I expected." And my answer to that was, look, that's not what this party is all about. This is a party for the people. It's not about the fake phony lights and the flashes and the bangs and the fireworks. This is a party for the people. We're not messing about here. We're not after bullshitting people. We're after telling them the truth. We're after being just like them. We are normal people. We
what
don't
I could
need
do
that razzmatazz.
Is dress up with a sequin dress and sing Insomniac when I come out on the on the Welsh launch. Oh my God, what was that about?
Yeah, but Paul, Rogue, Paul, on that point, actually, it is about the people, because what we've been doing in Wales specifically, I don't know if you've seen, Paul, we've been travelling throughout Wales and actually going to pubs and doing meet and greets. I mean, Rogue, you've been very instrumental, in fact, organising it. So do you want to share a little bit about those meet and greets, what we've been doing?
Yeah, so obviously we're starting from grassroots. You know, what is so important is that we get to meet you guys. We get to meet everybody on the ground that is becoming members and that are actually supporting Ben, Rich, and the party. And with that, what we do is we find out what is it that you need in your area? What is it that you are struggling with? What is it that you want to bring to the party? And I think it is just such a privilege to meet everybody, because everybody has a reason as to why they've joined, whether it's, you know, the way that Reform treated Ben, whether it's just they absolutely believe in Ben, whether it's, you know, everything that is being said that they want to actually sort of pioneer along with Ben and want to join the college. There are so many intelligent, incredible people, and when you get to meet them, it's really humbling, because we're not just sitting at the top going, right, this has got to happen, this has got to happen, this has got to happen. What we're doing is we're going to mingle, we're going to get with you right on the ground, and we're going to find out what is the source of what you want and what is going to make this country great again. I think it's just phenomenal to meet them all.
Yeah, well said, well said. I think, Ben, you know, we have to take really good care of Ben as well now, because Ben has the weight of a nation on his shoulders. I mean, I've been out in Benidorm this afternoon. I picked my granddaughter up for lunch. We went for lunch, and had so many people coming up to us and just saying, Paul, you know, like, everyone's relying on what you guys are doing. You know, we're putting all our hopes in you. They speak about Ben, and I worry about Ben a little bit, because he's got such a massive job on his shoulders now. I think he's up to it. I mean, I don't doubt that that in any way. He's up to it, but he's going to need so much support. And that is, you know, we've all got to share that responsibility to take some of the pressure off Ben, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he needs the best team around him. He needs, you know, everybody that is a member to say, what can I do? How can I help? You know, and that is our job as well, to kind of get the right people up and equip them. And it's in the equipping of people that we can then start to move forward. And, you know, this is a completely different party. This is a completely different structure to any other political party before. And it's exciting. And I think people are just so enamored with that it's like, what can we do differently? And you know, Rich, how many people have we met? You know, it's just been incredible.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Rogue, I think what we've seen actually is what's different is this isn't top-down kind of politics, is it? This is grassroots. I mean, I'm a working class bloke, right? I'm trying to put on a posh accent here. It's not really working, is it, right? Right? I'm from the Welsh Valleys, Paul. You're Australia, you're a Londoner, so that's what this party represents. It represents the people of this country, because we're not all from Eton, Oxford, although we need brains in the party, and we do have them. You know, some people I can't understand because they're too posh, and they can't understand me because I'm Welsh. But, you know, we get on together, and there's this common purpose, and it's about our country and our nation, because we're losing our identity. And when we lose that, we lose our voice. When we lose our voice, we've lost everything. Yeah. And we have seen our country being decimated by this government and previous governments that have allowed things to happen under their watch, with open borders being one of the major issues right now, and the devastating impact that's had on communities across the country. And there's a tide turning of ordinary people who have never been engaged with politics at all, mothers, daughters, cousins, and, you know, normal people who are saying, we've had enough of this. How can we change this? And in comes to the playing field Advance UK that maybe they've never heard of. And that's why it's important you share these lives tonight, because we want people to find out more about us, because it's important they have an alternative. Because up until now, there's only been one party that's been an alternative, and that has been Reform. And yes, they're polling high. And yes, but we're 4 years away from the next general election. And we have gone from 0 to over 35,000 members in 5 months. I mean, that is a record within itself. So the future for Advance UK is going to be determined not by its leaders, although we're important, and the people involved in the college. It's going to be determined by every single person on the ground, every member. They're not just a number, they're a voice, and their voices need to be heard. And we want to harness that, and we want to recruit more and more people. And as we've been traveling throughout Wales, we're in, where are we on tomorrow night? We're in Cardiff.
We're in Cardiff tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. So if you're near the Master Gunners, it's in Balfour Avenue, by the way, come 6 o'clock onwards, and then a week after that, I think we're in Rogue. Where are we? We are Bridgend, is it?
We're in Bridgend, on the 8th.
And these people we're talking to in the pubs I mean, they're so excited and they love Ben to bits. They love what he's doing. And he was hesitant, Paul, if you remember, about coming back into this fray, because he's like, hang on a minute, do I need to do this? Then Musk kind of encouraged him. And then he had to put his hand in his pocket and pull $100,000. That shows real dedication and commitment to something he believes in, Paul.
Absolutely. And when you mention the accents, in years gone by, I've been a little bit self-aware about the way I speak, the way I look, etc. But what I've come to realise is, guys, it doesn't matter anymore, because, all these people with the posh accents and the posh suits, they're the ones that have done so much damage to us.
Yeah.
We are. I look at it like this way. Yeah, get that jacket off. If you went down the trenches during the First World War and spoke to all the boys in the trenches, they would have spoke like us.
Yeah.
They were the lads that saved our country. It's always been that lot that stepped up to the plate when the country has needed it.
Exactly that. And that was like Liam Tuff's question. Sorry to interrupt. I was going to say Liam Tuff's question. Did you see when Liam asked that question? Why is it you would support somebody like us? And that's exactly the answer that Ben said, wasn't it?
Exactly. And that's why he resonates with so many people. He gets it. And, everyone watching this tonight, everyone that we speak to about reform, what they got to understand is you don't just become a part of a political party, you become part of a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is a family.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier on, I'm just immensely proud to have been asked to be a part of it, to try and do my bit. And we just got to make it grow, and we have to make it succeed. We have no choice.
We have one last chance, don't we?
Exactly.
It is
and I think, Paul, your voice is one of the most important ones, because when I was watching all the live streams, it was only your live stream which was attracting a lot of people watching it. So if we were missing the people that might not have seen it, it was you that the reason why people were seeing it. Even though you're in Spain, you have done so much. You have no idea, man. You know what? I like I said, you're a legend to me, Paul. You've done so good. You've been very helpful along the way. I've known you for almost 1.5 years now, and all I can say that you're one of the most amazing guys. You're saying the way you look and everything. I think you're one of the most genuine guys that I've met. Obviously, along with Richard Inman. He's actually. But yeah, no, you've been very helpful, and people will say things about you. But I have to say, you look more brown than me being in Spain. I was the brown one. You're taking that away from me as well.
You can't say that's racist. You can't say stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's what he says.
You see, that is true integration, when you can have a laugh and a joke with each other. That's what we used to do at school years ago.
Yeah.
With the black lads that was at school, we used to laugh and joke and take the mick out of each other, and we all loved each other. We was all just part of a happy group. But no, thank you for those words. I mean, honestly, very humbling. And I don't need that. I don't look for that. What I'm saying is I do what I've always been a giver in my life, and that's what I see in Ben. Ben's a giver. He wants to give people. He wants to make other people's lives better.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that way myself. I've always had a thing for the underdog. I think a lot of Brits have. We've always been a nation of underdogs. But now's the time. Now the people have the power. This is what I say when they say to me, "Oh, Paul, do you think you can? Do you really think they can do it?" I say, "Well, look, you know what? We have the power. You just have to take it. That sweet on the table is right in front of you. All you've got to do is reach out and take it."
Yeah.
If you don't believe it.
Who's going to split? So many people are calling us the splitters, though, aren't they? And it's so frustrating, because that is not what we're doing. And Rich, you've always got your best comeback with that, which is what?
Well, look, there's no such thing as splitting the vote. That's just an illusion created by people just because they think they're entitled to people's votes. I mean, it is quite arrogant to assume that one person's vote belongs to you and you alone. Because in a democracy, you can't have enough political parties. The more the better. That's what democracy should look like. And I think people will vote based on their conscience, their convictions, their principles, a party that aligns with their values. And I think what Ben has done, because we're not just a political party, but we believe in Christian values, the Christian constitution, the culture, our history, all those things. We're presenting something completely different. So we're not just bashing people, we're offering solutions. And I think what's important is political parties for years just bash one another. watch what's happening right now, right? They're just bashing each other. The Labour Party conference, which we were up at, Rogue, with the No to Digital ID Together declaration after the Newcastle launch, a long 2 days, with Alan Miller and the guys. Great time supporting them and our farmers as well. And, people are bashing each other. But I believe that we should sell our message, and we've been doing it very well, actually, and saying, hey, listen, we're not here to bash anybody. We're here to show people an alternative of a way that we can actually restore the greatness back into Great Britain again. And Great Britain, and I must always mention Northern Ireland. I get told off by my Northern Irish friends. Northern Ireland, we believe in this country. And I think to be patriotic these days, you're considered to be a fascist, a racist, and scum of the earth. Well, I'll wear those badges with honours if it means I believe in my country. Yeah. I believe in putting British citizens first over foreign nationals. Now, if people come here legally, we have no issues with that for the right reasons. But of course, we have seen astronomical amount of people cross the English Channel, illegal, undocumented males coming to this country, being given and being housed in HMOs, in hotels. And we've seen what's happened. Mainstream media, they're an embarrassment to this country because they don't share the full truth. I mean, look what happened with the launch. It never went nowhere. Mainstream media didn't even touch it. GB News, Talk TV, shame on them. And these are channels that once used to have people like us on, to give some political commentary. But they've been cancelled. Take Ben Habib. He's been cancelled. Rogue, you found some stuff out about GB News today, didn't you? Do you want to share some of that?
So good old Nigel Farage is obviously a massive shareholder in a company called Thorn in the Side. Now, the Thorn in the Side company is actually owned by GB News and basically is a massive, massive shareholder. So it really equates to Ben being silenced because obviously it's just the Farage show, isn't it? It is GB News is Farage.
Well, it's funny how Ben has gone from being one of their most regular and most popular commentators to being completely banned. You'd think that after starting his own party, they'd actually increase his visibility rather than reduce it. So it says it all, doesn't it? But what I always say about splitting the vote, when people say that to me about reform, I just say, no, it's reform now that are splitting our vote. They're the vote splitters because at the end of the day, they're pretending to be something that they're not. And we are what they should have been.
Political chameleon.
It's them. Yeah. It's them that is splitting the vote, not us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's important as well, as you think about this now, Paul, and Shoaib and Rogue, I mean, we're currently in that process where we're registering now as a political party. We've reached that benchmark. The mainstream media will not be able to ignore us. We're not going anywhere, right? We're not going nowhere. They tried to do it on 13th September, the Tommy Robinson event, saying there was only a couple of 100,000 there when we know the truth because we are the media, channels like this, Paul, yours, and many others, Dan Hutton, all the guys who are on our side of the debate, if you like, who believe in the freedom of speech and believe in telling the truth, which is integral to our Christian heritage and roots. And that now will win. We will always win. As long as we're in the light and not in darkness. And these propaganda arms of the government, whether BBC or Sly News, whatever they are, they only report what they want people to believe and know. And it's indoctrination, really, because that's how they paint the picture. When you look at alternative media, and we've seen this, with many, like I think in America, it's more prevalent in America with these kind of channels. But we're growing here in the UK. Channels are becoming massive. We had more people watch the Tommy Robinson rally than watch Sky News, BBC, and all the other channels put together.
Yeah.
40, 60, 70 million people at once watching that rally. That Ben got up and spoke, and he was magnificent. Now, there's some things, though, on the night of the launch I have to mention. I don't know if you've seen it, Paul, when Ben mentioned a policy. It's not a policy because we're on the call, bonk for Britain, right? He was like, we need to have more children. And he's like, we need a bonk for Britain. I mean, I just lost at that. I was like, right, okay, that's a new policy on me. But he actually said, before we go to the bar and get some lubrication, don't forget this bonk for Britain. I thought, oh, Ben. And, because he's so well spoken, some of the things that come out, so you're like, wow, didn't expect that sort of thing, and I think that's what you're doing, though.
Ricky, I actually started the campaign during the live stream, but I was back in 30 seconds.
Brilliant. And I just think, what this shows to people now going forward, I know I speak for Advance UK, of course, and I'm very passionate about Wales, but I believe in the union. We are a unionist party. We believe in, the nation state. We don't believe that devolution has worked for the people in this nation. It really hasn't. You look at what's happening in Wales in particular. We're hitting all the wrong records at the bottom of the tables in our education, in our public services, the NHS, the list goes on. And I think it needs real change. And although Reform might have the wind in their sails now, and of course, with elections coming up and the general election, which Ben is setting his target for, I believe with all of my heart, make no doubt, we will fight with every fibre of our being. And I know that if we can build a party like we've started right now and continue in this trajectory, we will not only be in opposition, but potentially Ben could be in number 10. And I really believe that. I'm not deluded. I absolutely believe it 100%.
Yeah. I think
that's why I got the hashtag Ben for 10.
Ben for 10.
Yeah.
I think Clacton is going to be very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Clacton is going to be super, super interesting what happens down there. But we'll say no more on that, and we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
I think Rogue, you've got someone, David. It's his birthday, and I think
yes,
he's in here. Should I bring him on?
Bring him in.
All right, Dave, I'm bringing you in now, David. There we go.
Superman.
Hey man, I just wore this because of you. I'm so hot right now. I'm feeling so really hot, but I thought I'll wish you your happy birthday in Welsh, and then then I'll change very quickly.
I was very, 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 very pleased to get your wee YouTube message, mate. Thank you very much for that. Greatly appreciated. And I hope you sweat yourself into a skinny rump.
Yeah, I am very sweaty. So Richie, do you know how to do the Welsh birthday as well? Do you know how to do it?
Yeah, don't you dare.
You want me to sing in Welsh? Are you sure? Paul, are you ready for this?
Sharp, zip it.
I'll do it. I'm ready.
I'll get you back. I'll get you back. I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, I know you will be.
Me and you'll have a conversation without coffee.
All right, we will. Definitely we will. Go on, Rogue.
Paul, good to meet you.
Happy birthday, mate.
I've seen your stuff on YouTube. Excellent job, dude. Really excellent work.
Thank you.
I'm very, very much a privilege to meet you.
Thank you.
Rogue.
So Dave joined as a member, and he's got a back history as well. So tell us a little bit, Dave, about what you and where you've come from, because it's been a long journey for you to decide on Advance UK, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I suppose my history goes back many years to when I was a kid. I was one of those kind of child of the 60s. I'm not going to quite give my age away just yet, although no doubt somebody will bubble me. But I'm kind. I lost my father when I was 8, my stepfather when I was 12, my mother when I was 15. I had every intention of going into the army and couldn't do that. My parents were always true blue Tory, and that, I guess, from the moment I joined the army when I was 21, and had a full career in the military, with 5 years of that with UK Special Forces as part of the medical component for that group. Even after retiring and going into various other industries, doing various different things, I was starting to become increasingly skeptical, particularly when it came towards the point where I was retiring from the military and we were just about to enter into the Second Gulf War. And I had my doubts about this whole idea that chemical weapons, and much less chemical weapons that might be targeted towards UK, having seen what had happened with the Scud missiles and seeing them flying overhead back in Gulf One, and that plus a few political things and things that were going on within my own corps, which was medical corps, started to make me a little bit skeptical. My wife became sick in around about 2012. She had a long illness and ultimately passed away in 2020 during the height of COVID. And part of the reason for that that she passed away was because of the overwhelming infection called sepsis, which some of you certainly, people are familiar with. And she'd gone through a number of bouts, but on this occasion, due to the lack of really adequate staffing in one of the major hospitals in the UK in the West Midlands, it was just unsustainable, and unfortunately, she succumbed to that on this occasion. So that made me very, very bitter with the Conservative Party, to the point where I said I am never gonna vote for Conservatives ever again, and felt a little bit kind of abandoned in the political wilderness, to be honest. And a couple of years later, and then we start to see the rise of reform. And forgive me, but I've never had a good impression of Farage. And I'm sorry to knock him here. It's just, and I can't explain it. I've got no good reason, logical reason to explain it. It's more of a gut feeling that I simply don't trust the guy. And that's it. And then sort of, Jojo and Richie, I met Jojo and Richie, and basically they introduced me to Advance UK. I started listening to the things that Ben Habib was putting out there. And it was like this big weight had been lifted off my shoulders politically. It's like this, do you know what? That is what I stand for. That is what I want. That is what I've spent my life on war zones. Yeah. And I suppose the thing that really did it for me, I was in Israel, working out in Israel when just after Hamas had come over the border. And I've been to many, many places. I mean, not with the military. I've actually spent more time in conflict zones since I left the military, doing various, usually medical support jobs, security jobs, working with the UN, humanitarian jobs, and so forth. But this one really got to me. And it got to me because it was relentless over the period of time I was there. I was only supposed to be there for 3 weeks. I ended up staying there a lot longer than 3 weeks. And there was a lot of things that I saw when I was out there. And because of the continuity of it all, it was constant, 14 hours a day, listening to the news, and listening also not only to the news, but to the propaganda that was being promulgated by actually both sides. And I remember distinctly when the hospital was attacked and a bomb fell on it. And there was BBC, there was CNN, there was French 24, and on the other side there was Al Jazeera. And both of them had very, very different excuses about what had happened. And you know what? Both of them was absolutely plausible. You could have believed either one depending on which side of the fence you sat on. And as acting as devil's advocate, I couldn't tell the difference between the two. I couldn't say whether it was Hamas that was responsible for an old goal or whether it was a deliberate attack by Israel, because the evidence that both sides produced, which may well have been contrived, I can't say, we don't know, because we don't question everything anymore. We very often see what we see on the internet and take that as gospel without any critical thinking or critical appraisal. And so that did it for me. And I came away from that swearing that I am never going to go back to that sort of thing, to that sort of environment again. But it also made me look at UK politics and how UK was behaving not only in the world, but also behaving in the UK. And then Labour came into power, and I had high hopes. I'll be honest. I thought, and I voted for Labour at the last election because I sincerely believed that would be a better alternative for my vote than the Conservatives would at that point, because of what I'd previously experienced during COVID and the death of my wife. And so as time went by, and as I was more introduced into Advance UK and getting involved in things with Richie and with Jojo, and ultimately, I suppose, culminating in the launch event in Newcastle at the weekend, I absolutely believe for the first time in my life, really, that I have found a proper political home where I can hang my hat and say, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to get our country back. And this is how we need to do it. Now, for me, there's a lot of people out there that are all talking about and asking for what are the policies of Advance UK. Well, this is not really the time for policies right now. We've got to make an impression. We've got to get people into the party. We've got to come up with those core principles that Ben talks about: democracy, freedom of speech, equality under the law. All those things are the things that appeal to me. And that becomes a solid foundation by which we as a party can start developing policies as we move towards the next general election. And that's it, guys. That's my bit on the soapbox for now.
Very interesting, and thank you for your service as well, Dave.
Thank you. We know what, we don't say that often in the UK. You go to America, and I can tell you, I've been to America, and I've been to America in uniform as well as in civvy. As a civvy, once the American people find out that you're a serviceman, it doesn't matter whether you're a US citizen or whether you're from the UK or any of the allied forces, they will always say to you, thank you for your service. In fact, I've had meals bought for me and my group by individual Americans in restaurants. That's what they do in America. We don't have that culture in the UK. Why the flip not?
We should go out of our way to always thank our servicemen for their service. That is my belief.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, look, let's get this straight. The majority of servicemen do not believe that they are heroes. We don't want to be called heroes. It fucking embarrasses us, right? Oh, should I swear? I did do it. Freedom of speech. We don't want that. That's not what we're there for. Most of the time we're there to serve whoever's the regent of the time. In my day, it was Queen Elizabeth, God bless her soul. Today it's
King Charles,
and you do it, and you kind of do it for the blokes that are surrounding you. We don't expect that sort of accolade. I haven't got any medals for courage. I've got a lot of very expensive passport stamps, though. And that's what they are. And I'll tell you something else as well while I'm at it, just while I'm having up here for a plug. This Legacy Act, this relentless pursuit of our Special Forces soldiers in Northern Ireland has got to stop. Because let me tell you, I'm ready to take my medals down to Downing Street and dump them on the steps, and so are many of my colleagues. It's appalling what they're doing at the moment. It should not happen.
Absolutely disgraceful.
And I blame Tony Blair again for that little episode. Anyway, I didn't have another rant just there. That's another soapbox. Nobody else has got a word in yet, and I've already done 2 soapboxes. Right, brilliant. I'm shutting up now. Carry on.
Don't mention Tony Blair. We'd be here all bloody night if you mention his name.
Listen, I'm trying not to have any more nightmares.
Yeah, I think what I find as well is the amount of veterans that have been joining the party as well. We've spoken to quite a few because we've been to some of the kind of events that we've locally and supported them, of course, remembrance and different ceremonies. But people privately messaging us from members saying, "Is there anything for veterans? Is there anything for veterans?" And I've been speaking a lot to Dave and Rokas as well about putting something together that we can have within the party that does look at the veterans. That doesn't just say, "Yeah, we support the veterans," because anyone can say we support veterans. It's just a slogan. The days of political slogans have got to be over. We've got to take action. And I think what we want to do, I believe, certainly from my perspective, I'll be pushing for this as a college member, Paul, is creating policies that support our veterans, that creates a community for them so they can get together. Because a lot of them live in isolation, or some of them choose that as well. Dave will know more about it than me. I can't speak. I'm not a veteran. So what do I know? So I think those with experience who have gone through what they've been through are crucial as part of the party in helping us develop policy in the future and create environments where veterans do feel, not just as Dave said, we don't be celebrated as heroes, just want to be heard, man, and given a home and a platform. And I'm sure that is Ben's heart. I've heard him on many interviews that he's done and podcasts where he said it constantly, and not just as a slogan, but actually with real authenticity as well. And I believe that's important. I know, Dave, you're passionate about veterans. I know you are. The amount of documents and stuff that you've sent me with all the kind of, and it's brilliant. And these are the kind of things that we need to get into place, Paul.
We have a duty of care to our veterans. a long-standing duty of care, and it should never ever be overlooked. They put their lives on the line for their country. They served our flag, our Queen, and we owe them. As far as I'm concerned, my belief is that we owe our veterans everything. Those that have gone before and in the future. My grandfather was a veteran, lost an arm in the First World War, and I grew up on stories about our military. And to me, I put them on a pedestal. To me, they're the greatest. They're just the greatest. Always have been. And we need to take care of these people. When they finish their service, it's then our time to take care of them. They took care of us, and then it becomes our turn to take care of them. It's like when you're babies, when you're young, your mum and dad look after you. When they get old, you look after your mum and dad.
That's good.
That's the way it should be, in my opinion.
But they're not being prioritised, are they? They're not being looked after. And
They're not even.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
They're not even on the radar. They're just left.
I was going to say they're not even on the radar. They're not even on the goddamn radar. Listen, where I used to live in Brighton, the amount of homeless veterans that are on the street, one or two we tried to help. I put one guy in a hotel, fed him, clothed him. But the problem is that once they've been out on the street for a certain amount of time, it's very hard to bring them back. From the moment they leave their service, they should be monitored and looked after, because I think so many of them are suffering from, PTSD and other trauma effects. I can't imagine what they suffer and what they go through. In many cases, they've lost colleagues. That's very, very difficult to come to terms with, for us to even imagine, let alone to actually experience it. So, like I said, we have a duty of care to our veterans.
Yeah.
And we just, the way they're treated makes me so angry.
I mean, as a trained counsellor, I used to look after veterans, and I would, sort of work with them. And like you said, the PTSD is phenomenal, and how they've been left to the wayside was, again, just a disgusting act. It's just like these people, like you said, have fought for us, have protected us. So where's our protection for them? It has to be about us protecting them if they've protected us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so many of them, unfortunately, end up getting themselves into trouble because, they find themselves on the wrong side of the law. There just seems to be no guidance from, no support, no backup. And they've come out of a system. I mean, Dave will obviously know far much more than I about this, but I would imagine they've come out of a system where they have their friends, their colleagues. They are their backup. They're a team. They're like brothers. They've always got each other's back. And then the next day, they've got nothing. They walk out and they have nobody.
The provision for not just the veterans as well, but those that are transitioning from the military into civilian life. That really needs a really proper, good examination. And we've got kind of three pillars or three core principles, should I say. One is about getting early intervention for these people. The second one is about making a seamless transition from military service into civilian employment. That needs to be done, and ultimately to provide that sort of holistic support from all different agencies throughout the veteran's life. And what a lot of this is ultimately laid down to is it's abdicated towards the military charities. Now, don't make me get my soapbox out about military charities. We won't. I won't. But that's how I would look at it. Trying to identify these problems early. And the interesting thing is that soldiers that are under 25, military people under 25, are far more likely to commit suicide than civilian people under 25 years old. And that is a real tragedy if those young people that have served our country are not supported and end up taking their own lives. It's unacceptable. It should be unacceptable as a nation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, guys, before anything else, I just want to say, Richie, I think Richie is on a clock. He needs to go. Anything you would like to say before you go, Richard? I know you're in.
Yeah, I just want to first of all say thank you for you for hosting, Shoab, and for Paul for jumping on. A nice surprise, Paul, and for David sharing his story, because his story is replicated, throughout the whole of the country. People have joined the party from different walks of life, from different experiences, because politics has not represented them, and Advance UK is offering something completely different. And so as we move this thing forward together, I've got the full confidence in what Ben is doing, in what the team is doing, in what, the structure of the party. And, I believe by 2029, we will be not just a political party, but we'll be a credible force to take the keys to number 10 and make some real huge changes that need to happen, because this country has been failed by consecutive governments. And I think part of that is because we've cozied up to international bodies, superpowers like the WHO, the WEF, the UN, the EU. We're still in bed with them, unelected bureaucrats all across Europe. And we have red tape and all kind of regulations still imposed upon us. We need to stand alone, stand tall, be proud of who we are, raise our flag with pride. And we don't have to pick up weapons. We don't have to fight, but we can use common sense, intellectual debate. We can have, like Charlie Kirk did, God rest his soul. He debated, he won arguments with humility and humor in a way he was endearing to people because he understood people and he listened to people and he cared. And one of the things I want to finish on this, one of the things Ben said in his speech, I think it was after the dinner actually, Dave, if you remember, he said, we win by love. We love our country. We love people. That's what we do. And if we love people, we'll do the right thing by people. And I think that is missing from our politics. It's just become a career, an ambition, to get into power. It's always been Farage's ambition to be prime minister. It's great ambition, don't get me wrong. But when you tread on people to get into power, then what kind of a person are you? What does that say about you? And I think it's crucial at the heart of all this. We're here, Advance UK, because we believe love will always win. We need to love our country, love the people of this great country, and make sure they're treated equally under the law as everybody. And we will restore democracy. We will restore sovereignty. We will cut all of our ties, all of the entanglements, the tentacles from these international bodies in our domestic politics. It's time for them to go. No more. All these acts will be repealed, and we will once again restore greatness to this wonderful country of ours. And that is my personal belief. That's what I'm believing for, and that's what I'll be fighting for in Wales as we travel up and down the country. The 1st of November will be our Wales launch. We've had the national launch. Now we're going to have a Welsh launch down in Newport. Tickets will be live straight after this live stream, only to our members. So check your emails, check your junk box, because it goes straight in there. And we can't wait to see you. Get your tickets, folks. It's going to sell out, okay? But don't worry if it does. We'll put another one on as well. So make sure you get those tickets, guys. And it's no star, as we say in Wales, from me. Thank you for having me on. I've really appreciated it. And to Rogue, Shoab, Dave, and Paul, thank you, guys.
Brilliant. Follow that. Amazing. Good to see you, Richie. Take care.
Thanks,
All the best.
Richie.
Thank you for being there.
Shoaib, I'm afraid I've got to dive as well. Not only is
It's fine, no worries. Yeah.
not only is my battery run out, but my dinner's ready.
Oh no, that's fine. Please go, Paul. That's fine. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your food.
I'm an hour in front here, so I'm late.
No problem at all.
Lovely
All
to
the best,
see you.
guys.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Lovely to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye, Paul.
I'm gonna bring. I don't know if it's Martin is still there. I'll bring him in. I think Paul's gone. Martin, unmute yourself. Yeah, I haven't. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
Yes, mate. I'm going to shoot in a minute though, because I've got my dinner waiting.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No worries at
Oh
all.
my
How you doing? You all right?
gosh.
How you doing? You all right?
How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good.
Getting ready for tomorrow.
So what have we got for dinner?
It's my stepdaughter's birthday today, so there's a Chinese.
Hey, Dave, it's your birthday and your stepdaughter's. That's amazing.
I know, and it's my son's next week. And who else is it?
Birthday,
Oh, and there's my
isn't it?
stepson's 18th last week as well. So
Yeah, because it was yours as well.
It all went on in January, didn't it?
Can I just say congratulations to everyone who's got a successful journey around the sun in the last couple of days. Well done, especially you, Dave.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. What a great day for pouring chocolate over your granddad's bald head and saying, How's that for a treat?
Oh my
I was listening
God.
to you guys intently though about Advance, because I had a wedding on Saturday as well, so I didn't even get a chance to look or listen to the live stream. So I was catching some bits and pieces of what you guys have been doing in that, like last week and stuff. And this, yeah, I'm a big fan of Advance, but I'm still politically homeless. I'm still gonna hold back and wait.
Why? Why are you waiting?
That's a very good question. Why am I waiting? I don't know. I think for me, it's knowing the unknown, isn't it? Where we're going to be in like next couple of years? Because that was one of the questions I was going to sort of put to Richard, but I suppose you could answer it as well. It's just like it'd be interesting to see what the next steps are, because it's like trying to get to this point from where obviously that successful launch at the weekend, obviously reaching over 30,000 members. What's the next stage to? Because I presume now you've got this nucleus. So it was interesting listening how you've created like this sort of family mentality that you need. But now it's like you've got to replicate that. It's like branding, isn't it? You've got to replicate this and this bubble and like spread it everywhere. Because you know, going back what Paul was saying, even about Paul, like Paul was saying about Ben, sorry. Yeah, he needs as much support now, because the one thing you got with, say, Reform, for instance, not that I'm a fan of them, but if Nigel Farage is the party, without him, they're nothing. Do you know what I mean? He's, you know, despite all his faults, he's very charismatic. He's a very good speaker. You know, he's got a lot of attributes. But without him, they wouldn't be what they are. So it's important that, you know, looking at the college, and hopefully, you know, is there to, you know, teach people what it takes to become, you know, part of the movement, and how to, you know, how to grow that membership further. Because one of the problems we've got is getting out to the mainstream, through the mainstream media, because obviously they put a lot of brakes on, you know, like you said earlier with Ben Habib and with Talk TV and GB News, etc. So it's trying to break out. It's all well and good, you know, people like us on social media and through X, but that's a very small percentage. So it's trying to get through them barriers.
Yeah, I mean the MSM, they're not interested. You know, they're not interested, and that's actually the point. We are going to have to break through those barriers somehow. And you know, whether it's like we said, we're going to do grassroots. We are going to go out and meet, you know, in every single area in Wales. So we're doing South Wales at the moment. So we're starting from the, you know, the south all the way to the mid, up to the north, and we are doing every kind of area to collect as many people who are interested, who are wanting to learn more, who are members, and we're just there to talk about what the vision is, what we're wanting to do. You know, obviously the college is set up. You know, Clark knows, you know, sort of in regards to the college, you know, the structures, because we've been working on the structures, haven't we, Clark, in Wales?
We have, yeah. I think Martin, hi, nice to see you again. And yeah, the structure that we're putting in place in Wales hopefully is going to be mirrored across the UK. We're trying something different, and it seems to be effective. And it's almost what the beauty of it is, and the beauty of Advances is that you get to hear real people. You get to hear what affects them. And so through the college, passing it on to Richie and other college members, they can shape policy for what actually means something to the people on the ground. And it gives you that adaptability. Like Dave, I mean, my family, my father served, my grandfather served, my uncle served. And it really, really grates on you when you see IRA terrorists being given comfort letters, and now soldiers that served being persecuted and prosecuted. That's an absolute travesty. And when you hear stories like that from real people, and giving them a voice and letting them know that they can be represented, and that democracy can really work, and that you can have an influence, and you need the right people to be speaking on your behalf. This is what Advance is all about. And I think we've hit 30,000. I think it will start to grow exponentially, and those voices and those real voices will be listened to, and the party and the policies will reflect what the public want, because they are listening to the public more so than others.
Do you have any sort of projections, like, you know, with numbers and stuff? Do you have an idea, or that type of sort of business plan?
Well, the way I'm looking at it, and I mean, I tend to sit in the background a bit more. and work behind the scenes and look at the strategic thing. I think that we'll see a lot more disaffected Reform voters, Conservative voters coming into the party. So I think we're in for a really, really interesting period of time politically. I don't think that Labour have convinced anyone, and some of those disaffected that are in those red wall seats, they're looking for something different. They're looking for an alternative. At the moment, they think that there's only Reform to offer them that alternative. So Reform have become, in a lot of parts, a protest vote in the same way as Labour became a protest vote in the last election. So I actually think that in those areas where they're looking for an alternative, a real alternative that's actually going to listen, I think that it's going to snowball, and I think it's going to grow, and I think it's going to grow quite quickly. The issues that we're going to have is if there is something happens out of the blue, such as a snap election or something traumatic that happens that means that, you know, something's going. I'm convinced that there's something going to come out about Blair, the funding, the Together Labour things, and other things that there's the Nick Brown affair and everything else. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come out in the next few months that's really, really going to test the ability of the Labour Party to hold it together. I mean, I see a fracturing already. We're already seeing a split between Miliband and Starmer, and although Miliband is saying he supports him, I think he's almost seeing what Burnham is doing in order to make a move himself. And then that will be very, very frightening for the country because of the net zero and who's pulling the strings on net zero. So I think we're going to see a really, really interesting period of time with the Labour Party and a lot of disaffection. And I think we may attract in Advance UK some of those people that voted for Brexit and didn't feel represented by the Labour Party. I think the Conservative parties are done flush. I think they're done. It'd be interesting to see. Kemi Badenoch can't be challenged in the leadership until November when she's done a full 12 months. But we're already seeing people like Robert Jenrick making a move, but I can't see them getting any more support. I can't see them pulling the voters back. So I don't see the Conservatives being a strong force. I think there's people in the Conservative Party who don't like Nigel Farage for exactly the same reasons as Dave and many others have seen and have commented on here that he flip-flops. So I can see Advance attracting those people, and when they do, and people understand how it's structured, how an alternative to Nigel Farage and how he runs his party, I really do think that, as Paul Thorpe was saying, there could be a massive challenge to Reform, and they can deliver. And I think one of the big things that Advance has over everyone else is its integrity. It's been consistent, and that sovereignty is something very powerful. Freedom of speech. I know Shoaib and your issues with freedom of speech and things. You know, when you're getting 30 people a day, Martin, being arrested for social media posts, freedom of speech starts to become a bigger thing. And I think these things are going to be the bits that attract people to the party.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a big opportunity here for like the reasons that you've said. I mean, I could possibly see Reform further down the line trying to get a coalition with the Conservatives, because they're literally, well, they're the Conservatives 2.0 anyway.
They are.
You know, and the flip-flopping around, even like with the recruiting of the likes of you know, the Dean Doris, for instance, and you know what I mean, it just makes no sense at all.
Well, Nadine Dorris was the person that put together the online safety bill that we're seeing now. I mean, the amount of posts that Rogue and I and Richie have tried to put out on our Land and Saint and Sinners platform that just don't ever get to see the light of day because of the online safety bill. Now, if they can cancel out, and you must have the same as well, Martin, and I know Shoaib, you do. So if they can have the software to pick up those comments to silence any criticism of Starmer, the WF, and the Labour Party, why can't they use that to pick up on the anorexic and the suicide taunting ones and the paedophilia ones? So it's yeah, and Nadine Dorries was constructed that, and Labour have run with it, and now Reform have just brought her in, and they've been attacking freedom of speech. Yet Reform are cancelling journalists from their councils because they don't like what they're writing. So I think that's all going to come about and unravel.
Yeah, they've definitely backtracked. I mean, I won't be voting Reform. However, you know, what you would have to consider, though, if there was a snap election, say tomorrow, our advance just aren't ready, are they? Do you know what I'm saying? They're not ready at this moment. So it'd be a case of like you'd have no choice but to vote Reform because there's no one else there available again. But for me, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think what he comes out with, and I would just hope that further down the line, you know, there's something there with Rupert Lowe. I know Restore are a movement and not a political party, but I would like to think, you know, I know, you know, they agree with the majority of things, although there's a couple of things they probably do disagree on, but you would like to think that they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So when it gets to that point in, you know, a few years' time, they need to sort of join. They would have to join forces at some point. That's what I would like to see. So I think
when it comes to politics as well, one of the things that you see in other countries where you get coalitions, it's quite interesting, and we've seen it in Wales where again the majority isn't there, so the Welsh Labour can't force through. They haven't got a majority, so they can't get through what they want. So they're having to go and do deals with the Greens and things. And we saw perverse things happen where greyhound racing was banned in Wales because of the one person. They needed one person's vote, and that was the line in the sand: ban greyhound racing, and then I will support your bill and get it through. So with coalitions and smaller parties or no overall majority, actually does give the smaller parties and the smaller voices a bit more of a power and a bit more of an opportunity to have influence. And I think that there's a potential and possibility for that to happen by the time that we get to the next election. Whilst they don't have or don't appear to have at the moment that ability to go and stand candidates everywhere, I think that Advance UK would be in a position, if it had to act quickly, it would react, and it would put people in the key places where strategically they would have a really good opportunity of winning. I don't know. Do you think the same, Rogue, as well? You have a lot more contact with the head office than I ever do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're kind of like obviously playing it by ear at the moment. You know, it's a really what we are watching and what we are observing is just this kind of like influx of differential kind of people saying one thing and another. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to work out who can we stand as candidates? How can we go, you know, ahead with this if this is to happen? You know, we're only new. We're birthed, you know, we're a baby. And what we want to do is get it right. And that is the most important thing, because if we rush it and we get it wrong, then what we do, we failed. We're just another party that has like completely got it wrong for you. And we want to be the party for the people. We don't want to mess about with that. You know, people are coming over to us because they are trusting us. And that is the most important thing, is we hold your trust. We will look after that trust, because every other party has abandoned, you know, their integrity. We are wanting to stand on integrity to look after each and every one of you. Like Dave, you know, we want to look after the veterans, you know, like these women who are going through rape and being, you know, victimized. We want to look after them. We have so many different areas that we need to look after, and we need to create the right policies to ensure that they are looked after properly. And I feel very passionate about that.
And it's built within the country as well, isn't it, Rogue? This is, I mean, people are waking up to the fact that, as Richie was mentioned before he left, strings are being pulled from outside forces, the WF, the Agenda 2030. You know, there's a great guy in the college, Paul Burgess, that's done a lot of work on, you know, completely dissing the information that they're putting out to justify the net zero policies and all the solar panels and things like that. So it's very much looking after ourselves as a nation, and the integrity, the sovereignty, the equality under the law is something that this country's crying out for. And I think as that message gets out and people hear it, the more people will be attracted to it, because they're seeing the global influence and the impact that we had on the farmers. The farmers that we spoke to on Sunday, I was fortunate enough to be there at that protest. And the farmers are all saying, you know, there's a bigger agenda at force here. There's bigger influences. The way that their field margins are being reduced because that's the way to get subsidies. The way that they're being forced to have certain pesticides and feed that gets put into their cows. The inheritance tax, the planning laws that are going to be changed so as they can take the land a lot easier. All of these things are being done by design. The migrant crisis, you know, focus on the migrants is really sort of like it's the cause, the effect, and it's a bit smoke and mirrors. This is a problem created so as they can get their 2030 agendas and digital ID in. And this is what Ben is one of the only politicians that's actually standing up and turning around saying, I reject this and I'm going to do something about it. And not just that, but reform the civil service and he's already got, I think, you know, looking at ways to change the laws that have been in since Tony Blair, to like Rupert Lowe has been saying, they're working on it so as when they do get into power and the opportunity, they can actually be effective in delivering what they're going to say for the people. So it is a very new party, but it's a new party with experience and a new party with a vision of how to get things done. And I think one of the things that I've always said, and Rogue will back me up on this, is we never fight a battle that we can't win, do we, Rogue?
Absolutely that. And we will win.
Active? Is it active now in terms of like, are you looking for like candidates? Are you looking to, have you had people approach you that want to be candidates from local areas around, not just Wales, but, you know, the UK? Because I suppose that would be your next step to start training people up to be.
Absolutely that.
It's important that the people that do represent the constituents are from the area. I know that there are people that stand for council that don't know anything. They represent an area they don't really know. They don't know the locals. They don't know the community. They don't know points. They don't know what people are really going through because they've just been, you know, they've just been shipped there, and that's your constituent, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Ben's not hidden it. With the Electoral Commission, we've had issues. You know, we literally have had people kind of trying to duplicate, and it's a problem. You know, and so we've obviously now gone through what we need to go through. We've you know, passed through that, and then it's all about structure. And again, it's so important that structure is put in place and it is done, you know, with a foundation, you know, so firmly and so properly and like according to everything that we stand by and believe in, for us to then be able to find the right people. Like you said, we can only have people that stand within the area. It's so important to find the right people that know the area, that people know that they're doing, you know, sort of charitable things around the area. It's, you know, it's who is making that difference, who is known. But also the other thing that Ben has always said is that, do we have to have the same old faces? Because we have got, like that girl, you know, we need new people to raise up who have got real life experience, who have got that budding, you know, fire that's lighting up, and they haven't been given that arena to light up and actually prove and show what they can actually offer, you know, because, you know, I know many people that have suffered, you know, at the hands of the police, at the hands of like council, like housing, you know, that there are so many people that have suffered in all of these different areas. The system does not work. We need every single person that has suffered in some way that wants to make a positive step. Look, we have the two different types of people. We have people that can sit and wallow in, oh my God, I've gone through this, and like they're victim. Or you have people that say, how can I make a difference? And these are the people that we need to say, this didn't work, this could work, let's put this into policy. You know,
people like you, Martin, you could be a candidate for your local area. You're exactly the kind of person. Shoaib, Dave, let's real people. Because look, the politicians and the career politicians haven't worked. We need real people, and that's what Advance is about. I think people, I know people have contacted you, Rogue, haven't they, through the Wales, and saying, I'd like to be considered to be a candidate. And if Rogue's getting that, the rest of the party's getting that. So and it is real people that can actually serve the community, understand the community, and be able to talk on behalf of the community to make a difference for the community is what is needed. And that's what democracy and that's what Parliament is about, or should be about, rather than being taken over by all these people that have only ever been lobbyists and working for think tanks that don't actually know what it's like to be on the ground, to actually worry about how are they going to make ends meet, how are they going to pay the electricity bill and feed the kids and clothe the kids and be able to get them on that school trip. Like those are the people that really need to be there and understand and can speak on behalf of the community with lived experience. And I think this is the opportunity for people who feel as though that they have a voice and they want to make a difference, can start joining Advance UK and making that difference, whether it be as a candidate or even through the college.
Just to say though, it's going up to £20 tomorrow. So if you want to get it for a tenner, you need to do it today.
So is it tonight? Is it tonight that it changes
to? The cut-off point is £10 tonight, and then tomorrow it goes up to £20.
There
and that's
go.
£10 for the whole year to be a member.
Good. That's really good. That's a reasonable price, I think. I think Rogue and Clark, we do have a few questions in regards to Advance UK. We will take as many as we can. I know everybody's on the clock. I know, Martin, you need to go as well. Before you go, is there anything that you would like to say? I know you're going to a protest tomorrow. Is that
what you want to do? Going to the pink protest tomorrow, which is the Pink Ladies in Westminster. So they're going to be up outside Downing Street from 10 o'clock till 2. So yes, it's being led by women, supported by the men. So men are welcome. Yeah, it should be quite an interesting one there tomorrow. So I've got a few really good guest speakers there. Susan Hall's going to be one of them. And there's a few others that I can't really sort of think. Maybe Jess Gill might be there, being supported by the Women's Safety Initiative as well. Yeah, some really good guest speakers. So yeah, it'd be interesting. So got that tomorrow. Then next week, I believe it's on Monday the 6th. There's a Starmer Out protest. I think that's in London as well. And then there's another one the following month in November. So I think that'd be more based around well, Keir Starmer.
Yeah, absolutely.
he's attached to everything. So I can hang on around for about another 10 minutes, and then I will shoot. But yeah, but thanks for letting me plug them guys.
No worries, man.
What would change your mind, Mark?
Nothing. Do you know what it is? Because we do the X Spaces, we're doing, the citizen journalism, we're doing like lives like this. I'm just trying to gather as much information as possible. I do like Nick Tanconi as well. I don't know. I think he's a great activist. He's a great politician. I think he says the right things. I think he's just got a big future ahead of him. Maybe now's not his time. I don't know whether, but I'm liking Advance more and more. So I think what you guys are representing, what you've been doing is absolutely amazing. So it's just I just want to sit back and see where it's going. Really, I don't want to just put all my eggs in one basket right this second. But I do. It's a fair question. It is a fair question. And going back to even what you were saying, Clark, you mentioned all these things. Also for me, I want to be. It's the worry about everything going on in society. I want to be able to go to bed at night with a clear conscience and wake up in the morning without the stress of having to worry about what's going on. More importantly, but that day hopefully will come, because it's not about me or my generation. It's about my children and my grandchildren, and I want to make
exactly right. And it's those motives that we need to have represented. So you're exactly right, Martin. And you should think about it. It is an important choice, and everyone should think about who they want to represent them and whether they want to join a party. It's exactly the right thing to do. So, I didn't rush into joining. I joined because of it, doing the research and seeing it's aligned, and being able to support Richie and make a difference in Wales. So, because they represented what I want, and I met wonderful people like Shoaib in the process, and heard his story and his fight, and the injustice of it all. But yeah, people should do their research before blindly voting for a personality. And that's one thing that they need to teach in schools as well, democracy in schools, and the importance of what politics can do to your life. 6 votes made a difference at the last by-election and got reformed their candidate. So every vote really does matter. And that needs to be taught in schools, because these politicians have so much influence over our lives and their lives and our children's lives.
Yeah, what they are being taught in school is lockdowns, how to hide in case there's a terrorist bomb, and then literally because of what our government's doing. It's an absolute farce. Like my granddaughter, I fear for her. I don't know if anybody else has got grandchildren, but, my granddaughter is the most bubbly, most lovely, beautiful, beautiful girl, and I just sit there and I'm just like, I can see the decline. Even in the last year, I mean, it is really in the last year, the decline has been just so prolific. And, for me, I want to make a difference. Why did I join? I've never actually joined a political party in my life. This is the only one that I have joined, not because of Richie, not because of Clark, not because of Dave, but because I looked at the values, I looked at the principles, I looked at everything that Ben stood for, and I recognized that since 2016, that he has never changed. He has never changed. He's been steadfast and rock steady crew in his, narrative. Whereas we've seen all these other guys, this is what I promise. I promise you this. I promise you this. Like Keir Starmer, what an absolute la. He has literally said, this is what I'm going to do. This is my manifesto. But he's gaslit us all. The amount of gaslighting is so horrendous, because we all believed one thing, I didn't, but people voted for one thing, and we've been given completely the opposite. Thank you. No, but I am I am a grandma.
You can call him a wanker, by the way, because Ben did at the rally.
I know he did. But I actually did it on a TikTok, and I just sang it with absolutely every fibre of my being, like, Keir Starmer.
I think you've done a TikTok calling him that every single day, haven't you?
I can't.
Look, guys, I'm going to have to break. I've had something come in that I need to go and deal with. It's been a really sort of hectic day at work, and it's not gone away yet. So, Martin, great to see you again. Dave, again, congratulations on that lap round the sun. Here's for many more. Martin, happy birthday to your stepdaughter tomorrow. Richie, great to see you. Saying that you weren't in earlier. Shoaib, always with your brother. Hopefully catch you tomorrow. Rogue, love you as always.
Take care.
Guys.
I'm going to see you as well, guys.
All right, Martin. Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you, and happy birthday to your stepdaughter, and happy birthday to your son tomorrow. If you want me to sing it in the Superman costume, just send me a message and I'll do it.
I see your message, mate. Sorry, I didn't really reply because I was too busy sorting this out. I'm going to hope. I need confirmation, but I'm going to be holding a live on Friday evening.
Okay.
Specifically on digital ID. I've got a cybersecurity expert coming on. I just need to confirm if he's doing it, hopefully around 6 o'clock. So once I get confirmation, I'll post that. But you guys are, just so I can plug that as well. And that'll be on my YouTube.
That's fine. No worries, man.
All right,
yeah, so Friday. Okay.
Be there. See
Sorry,
you later.
Rich, I can't speak to you, mate. But
Take care.
cheers,
Take care,
mate.
Martin. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Hey, Dave, is there anything that you would like to say? Because what it is after this, we are going to start taking some questions, because I can see we've got 22 questions for Richard and maybe Rogue as well, if you want to answer some. If there are any you don't want to answer, of course, I know Richard, he likes a challenge. He loves it. So that's why I was like, we'll bring Richard back on. So Dave, anything you would like to say, brother, before you go?
No, I think, there comes a point in people's lives where you've kind of just got to go and stand up for what you believe in. And it doesn't matter where you place yourself politically. The apathy that goes on at elections when it comes to turnout to vote is pathetic, really, in a democratic country. We need to change that. We need to stand by the banners that we truly believe. For us here, we've made our decision. We know where we stand. It's very clear for that. And I encourage anybody who's watching this, to be honest, to certainly by the next election, if not before, is to look inside yourselves and ask yourselves where you stand. What do you want Britain to be? You know, you've got choices to make, but time is running out. You know, time is really running out. We're on the verge of collapse, if not war. And, you know, I think that now is the time that we can't just be shrinking violets about this. We've got to be able to stand up and plant our flag somewhere. And, you know, that will be where it will be. But let's mobilize, you know, let's galvanize the nation, and let's encourage people to go out and vote according to their principles and their heart. And I think that's, you know, that's ultimately where, you know, whichever direction that takes. And of course, we all hope it's going to be Advance UK. Of course we do. But at the end of the day, you know, take a stand. Take a stand.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. Thank you so much for coming on. And once again, happy birthday. I'm glad you like the message in Welsh. I tried my best, you know.
Yeah,
I think more than the message, it was the costume. So yeah, but thank you so much for coming on, Dave.
That was funny. I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
I think everybody was thinking that, but thank you so much for coming on.
Take care, mate. Nice speaking to you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Just say that Jeeves and was it Mark Copeland? Both of them are saying like these are the, you know, Advance is the first party that they've actually committed to. That's phenomenal. And again, you know, I echo that because, you know, I've never been part of a party before. I just haven't had any belief system. But like I said, knowing what Ben has said since 2016 through till now has absolutely caused my heart to follow suit and to follow him. So I just think, and Adam saying the same thing. It's brilliant. Yes.
So should we start off with the questions now, right? What I will do, guys, I'm going to start off with the questions. I've saved some on the side, so I'll bring him on the screen. Have a read, and whoever want to answer, Rogue or Richard, you know, please go ahead. Okay, so we'll start off with this one here. If you can see it.
About the leaflets. Okay, yeah, so I can do that. That's my remit. So we have the portal and there's a shop on the website. I actually can't type it in because you need to type it in, but there is a portal on the shop, the Advance UK website, and what you can do is actually buy the leaflets and then you can start to distribute them in your area. And it's really, really important that is something that we do, because that is the beginning of getting the word out there. That's the beginning of getting our faces out there to show what we stand for and what we represent. So yeah, please go onto the Advance website, have a look at the shop, and then just buy those. Well, they're free, aren't they? It's just, I think it's just the postage. So you just have to pay for the postage to have them delivered to your door.
All right. So that was the first question. I hope that answers it.
Thank you, Tina.
Okay. All right, let's see what do we have now. Oh, that's Mystique Media. Thank you very much. And we've got another question now. Okay, there we go.
Right. So what is Advance UK looking for in candidates, and do you have to have a political background? Well, in short, no. In fact, the opposite, because we've had people with political backgrounds and look what we've delivered for the country. It's an absolute shower. So I think it's important. What Rogue mentioned earlier in the broadcast tonight was about having people who've got real life experiences that can bring something because they've experienced life. You know, they've not been taught something. You can have a degree in politics and you've got no common sense whatsoever. And we've seen this with our politicians, right? So you can have the highest IQ you want. And we need both. We need people with high IQs, but we need people really from the University of Life who have gone through some things that have shaped their thinking and understanding, and they become compassionate towards others because they too themselves have suffered. So they turn that, as Rogue mentioned earlier, into a positive. And I think what's important as we look in the future for candidates, which of course we will be doing all across the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, we'll be looking for people who have not just come from a certain class. This class culture that exists within politics, there's snobbery, it's political snobbery. And I think that has to change. We need to represent, Parliament should represent the people of the country. So within our 650 seats within on the green benches, they should represent the whole United Kingdom. So you have working class people, you have business people, entrepreneurs, artists, creators, all kinds of people from different walks of life. but people who have one thing in common: they believe in the country, their constituency in which they stand in, their community they love passionately. They're not looking just for a big pay packet and a big pension after doing 2 terms in Parliament, but they genuinely care about the people. And I think that is what we're looking for in candidates. People who will be the ballast of the party. They'll hold the party to account as well. Because what's important here, Schwab, to remember to our viewers, is with Advance UK, we want to be a party that is democratic in the sense that we will hold Ben Habib to account, of course, as you'd expect, because that is true democracy. Now, with all these other political parties, you don't, because what you have is Keir Starmer has a majority in the House and he can pretty much do what he wants, unless there's a major rebellion, which we saw happen under the Conservatives that led to them being wiped out here in Wales. We have no Welsh MPs in Wales at all. They got wiped out at the last election. And so I think it's important for the question that's been asked by Claire. My answer in short is no, you don't need to have any political background. But of course, some knowledge of politics does help. But one of the wonderful things is, if you stand as a candidate in the future, and that's something you desire to do, we will surround you with a team of people that will help you, because this is about a team, isn't it? Not about one person being a celebrity candidate. It's about having a group of people that, like you, Claire, if you were to stand in the future, you felt there's something you wanted to do. Of course, we'll have all the checks and balances in as you'd expect. We're not dragging people from pubs and chucking them up for election. They need to be people who've got something about them as well. And then, of course, we will work with them, surround them and help them. When I went into politics, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I did not have a donkey's, right? I literally didn't have a clue. It was redonkulous, as I say, right? And I walked into this political world and I thought, what on earth is going on? I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. But then I was surrounded with people who shared their experiences with me, and they had some political history. And I learned, and you learn. And one of the most important things, what is a politician? A politician isn't a title, it's a function. And a politician is there to represent the people that voted him or her in. And I think it's important as a candidate, you grasp that before anything else, before you get into, I'm the MP for so-and-so. No. Why are you in it? What are you in this for? Why do you want to be a candidate? Is it because you care about the people in your community, in your constituency? If that's the case, you're the kind of candidates that we'll be looking for.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure that answers it does answer the question. So we've got another one here. See, oh yeah, I think we've heard this many times. If you can give a quick one for this about splitting the vote. I know the answer to it. I know Rogue knows it. What about you, Richard? Just can you give a quick answer to that so we can move on to the
quick answer, Rich?
Right.
No, just because we have spoken about it.
In the words of the wonderful Paul Thorpe, Reform is splitting our vote, because we are the party in town now, and we're the ones.
That's all we have to say about that.
So yeah, and to keep it pretty short, there's no such thing as splitting the vote, because that gives you a sense of entitlement. This group of people, their vote belongs to me. That's very, that's a sense of entitlement. So we don't believe that. It doesn't wash anymore. People will vote for the party that they believe in, trust in.
Correct. Yes. Okay. Next question.
Was that short enough?
Yeah. You need to be a bit.
That was good. So we
had this question before, didn't we, Rich? So Helen has said a lot of the people saying they prefer the idea of Advance UK, but are still voting Reform because they don't believe that Advance will be ready.
Yeah,
it's a very good question, and so thank you, Helen, for asking that, and it's a very valid one as well. I mean, what I would say in response to that is what we've set up, and we have set the mission, if you like, of Advance UK. We are still in our infancy. We're still at the beginning stages. It's like a little baby that we're feeding at the moment, and it's growing and growing and growing and growing. I think what people have to keep in mind is, I know there's talk about snap elections. There's no way Keir Starmer is going to call an election because he's hooked on power. Okay, it's not going to happen. So we have to aim for 2029. We have to make that the focus. That gives us 4 years. Now, in 4 years in politics, trust me, one day in politics is a long time. In 4 years, a lot can happen in 4 years.
Yeah.
So whilst right now you might see that Reform are the only answer, that's almost a messianic kind of political concept that Farage is going to be the savior. And you'd be very disappointed then if that should be the case and they come into power, if you look at the people around him, some of those people have got no entrepreneurship, no business experience, no political experience at all. They will be his cabinet. We've seen this with the Labour Party. Look at the Labour Party. Look what we got as the treasurer, the housing minister, the business secretary. They got no experience whatsoever. Rachel, for example, Reeves, was an
accounts who lied about her.
From accounts, yeah, who literally cries because you can't control the budget, moans about a £22 billion black hole, then increases it by another £55 billion, which leaves us massively in debt, paying trillions in interest on our national debt. And I think what people are thinking is, well, we're going to vote reform because that's the only way we can get these Labour out. I get that. But listen, you got 4 years. And mark my words, we're over 35,000 members now, and it's increasing every day. Mark my words, by the time the general election comes in 2029, we will be on par, if not more, than Reform. Because I want to remind the viewers and listeners, Reform, back in July, guess how many members they had? 30,000 members. They had 30,000 members when the election was called in July. And it's taken them between 5 to 6 years to get there. It's taken us just 5 months to get to 30,000. So imagine where we'll be in 4 years. So I have every confidence that what Ben is doing and what we are doing, we're going to see exponential growth across the board. And we're going to see, as Rogue mentioned earlier, we want people in the party who are honest, with integrity, who will speak on behalf of the British people, put their interests first, not through our political slogans. And we want to build a party from the ground up. So the question, a lot of people saying they prefer to advance UK, but still voting Reform. I understand that. But please don't think that Reform is the only answer, because they're not.
All right, there we go. That does answer the question. We've got another one here. I think this is the question that people just asking. What if we are not on YouTube? How else do we know about Advance UK? Which I think, for me as well, obviously it's the website and everything. Oh, Rogue. Yeah.
Where are you pointing?
You.
Oh no, it's there. I think he's sitting in the mirror side. That's why. Yeah, it's on this side above.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think what's really, really important actually is because I've watched it and I've seen it, and I think this is just really what we should all do. So Adam, if you see somebody follows Advance UK, follow them. If you see that they are, with a banner of Advance, you just literally follow them. We need community. We need everybody to follow everybody. And whenever anybody puts anything up, share it. Share it, share it, share it. We need to put the leaflets out. You need to come to the meet and greets. You need to start leafleting and meeting people. You need to be active on social media, and you need to start telling people. So what we've actually started to introduce in Wales is, if you can actually, we call it the word recruit. I don't like the word recruit at all. I believe it's like sharing, the testament of our lovely Ben. This is what he does. Our lovely Rich, this is what he does. This is what we believe in as a party. These aren't leaders. These are men leading the way and forging the way for us, so that we can all gather together to drum up momentum where we can stand out, to the crowd. And so follow people, get in communities, do your meet and greets, and start spreading the word. Even if it's telling a colleague at work, even if it's telling one family member, get that word out, spread it out. And then once you've done that, it starts to subtly flow. And then before you know it, it's there. It's infiltrated. Like we're infiltrating here. We're here
I think to add to that, Rogue, and that's absolutely spot on. We need to use all these means that we have at our disposal. I think what's important to remember as well is there will come a time where we will not be ignored by mainstream media, because once we have registered the Electoral Commission and we start doing polling around the country through YouGov and through Sturvation and all these other polling companies out there, we will be on the map. And so they will have to come to us. Now, should there be a by-election somewhere that we stand in? Should there be, as someone's mentioned already, potentially the Senate elections next year? Of course, that's a potential, depending on a number of caveats to that happening, for us to stand candidates here in Wales. So the answer to that is, if Adam's asking outside of social media platforms, and let's remind ourselves, some of these social media platforms actually are getting more viewing figures than the BBC, than Sky News. I mean, you take Dan Wootton and Paul Thorpe's and many other channels as well we've been on, Ben's done, Liam Tuff's podcast. I mean, they reach millions of people. So don't be thinking, oh, well, we're in an echo chamber. These are echo chambers, because what people are doing, because they don't trust mainstream media, they turn into alternative media like this. And so our voices are being heard. But I get Adam's point. At the moment, with any brand new party, there's a USP we use. Basically, at the start of a brand new party, it's all about the brand. You remember when it was called the Brexit Party? Everybody heard of them because of the vote, Brexit vote. When they became Reform, nobody ever... Who's Reform? But they had a rebrand. So they had to sell Reform to the nation. And remember, it took them 5-6 years to get to 30,000. Reform, they became known as, when Ben was the deputy leader then at the time, before he was ceremoniously kicked out by Farage, and Rupert Lowe treated terribly. And when you see the growth of Advance UK in its infancy, and the fact that we've only been able to use alternative media, that in itself should speak volumes to people. And so it is important. But Adam, I'm sure that you'll see a lot more of Advance UK on mainstream media, although we're not very friendly with them, as you can imagine right now. But we are getting the message out there. And it's people like Rose mentioned, out on the streets, neighbours, friends, family, letting them know. I mean, I got a sticker in the back of my car. I got Ben's face on the back of my car. I don't know if it's any good. In the back of my car. I got a no to digital ID together declaration there. And I got a Ben one there. Whatever, like Schwab, I know you've painted your cars loads of colours, haven't you? But it is about community and getting out there and letting people know we exist. And I mean, one of the things Ro often does is, when I've come and seen her and we've gone out to my shopping, she'll just walk up to people and go, "Have you heard of Advance UK?" Just out of the blue. There's no shit. I'm like, do you know them? No, I just want to know. And she's brilliant. She's brilliant at it. Just be friendly with people and be nice to people. I mean, it works. It really does.
Yeah. Okay. So I think another question is this about if you can read that.
I'll let Rogue go first, because I know she'll have a lot to say about this.
All right, here we go, Rogue. We'll try and keep it short.
I can't. Absolutely not. I am. Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I would absolutely go on, Rich, because I will start to.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's what we've seen the absolute perversion of our education system under this government. And even I was reading today that the Welsh Labour government were launching this new library of books for young children. And the indoctrination and sexualization of young, pure lives is absolutely abhorrent, and it's from the pit of hell. Young children should not be taught. The RSE curriculum that was changed, and especially in Wales under Welsh Labour, to such a degree that they're teaching young children about masturbation, about anal sex, sex toys. And this is happening as young as 9, I think even younger than that, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot younger. But the other thing that why I get so passionate about is, like, there was a young boy who was autistic, and he had like a separate class because he was looked after, and he was taught in such a manner. And obviously autistic children, sort of hear stuff differently, and special needs, they hear it in a way. And, he was so upset and distraught by what he heard, he couldn't go back to school. And then his mom nearly got arrested, and there's this whole host of stuff that comes with it, and they were targeting him. They were literally sort of talking to him in such a way and, confusing him. And I mean, they gave him a book. Do you remember, Rich? They gave him a book. And this book was about how to for an autistic child to touch themselves appropriately when their parents weren't about. And it's like, what? The school, the curriculum, the RSE, they are trying to replicate parents. They are trying to stand there and do the job of what a parent is supposed to do. They are taking away that very nurturing that we are supposed to give our children in teaching them about life skills, about, not sexualization, but like how we should be appropriate, with that. And it really, really, really angers me. And
I think there needs to be a return to common sense here when it comes to school. We used to have the basics, maths, English, science, chemistry, subjects that are taught, and people had to have critical thinking. And what we've got now as young children in primary school, I mean, I've been on a few protests. I don't understand why parents, especially and law, be in their schools peacefully, parents, whatever they call parents, what do they call again? We call it parents' evenings. Why aren't parents, fathers and mothers turning up at school gates and saying, and we are doing it because a lot of people are now schooling their children because they're seeing what's happening in their schools, and children are coming home and saying things to their parents, and they're like, what are they teaching you in school? What? But this can't happen. And I think a lot of people are turning to alternative means and homeschooling for safety and protection of their own children. And we would be at Advanced UK, we would be absolutely 100% opposed to anything that teaches children anything sexual, in my opinion, perverse and evil from the pit of hell. I'll call it for what it is. I make no apologies for saying it. Our children should be kept as pure for as long as they can until they get an age of understanding, and they should be taught really those issues by their parents.
Exactly that.
You know, that should be the parents' responsibility. We don't hand our children over to the state and let the state then indoctrinate them and churn them out as, you know, people that believe things because, well, this must be right because I got taught it in school. No. That's not education. That's indoctrination. And that should not be happening. So in short, Gwyn, I would say we would get rid of all of that nonsense, scrap all of that. Let's learn about our history, shall we? Let's learn about what made Wales great again. Let's talk about our great poets like Dylan Thomas. Let's talk about all the wonderful people. Not Owen Glyndwr because he didn't like the English. But anyway, that's another story. Right?
We're not going to get into that one.
And Marx and men of Halleck and all that kind of stuff. But you know, teach them about history. You know, when I was in school, we learned history. All right, in Wales it was quite selective history, so a bit of humour here. We were just taught the English hated us. We know you don't, right? We love you all, but that's what we were taught, right? But obviously, when you look at history, I loved history. I really did, and I'm a reader more than a visual person. I love reading, and I think children are missing out on so much wonderful things that have happened in our past. You know, the way that our country was built on the backs and shoulders of men and women who had to go through such suffering. You think of the suffragettes, you know, to fight for the votes, those kinds of things. Those are the kind of stories they need to be taught and told, not this kind of cultural aspect and sexualization of children. That has to stop.
Yeah.
And I think lastly, I would say on this question, when he said, you know, people can go out and protest. And I think the reason why a lot of parents are not out there protesting because they're worried that they will get arrested. I think that is what has happened exactly. And that's the reason why you're absolutely right. If that was something going on in school, which we hear about it all the time, that people are complaining about it. But then you're again right to say that why is it that you're not protesting? Because you know exactly why, because that's what's going on. If you protest about anything these days, which the state don't agree with, you go to prison. You know, I've been to prison because of that. I'm sure you know a lot of people who've been to prison because of having their opinions. So unfortunately, this is where we are. But I hope that answered the question. I've got the next one now. Okay. Yeah, I think that's for Rogue, probably.
Okay, so tomorrow we're meeting in Cardiff. On the 8th, we're meeting in Bridgend. And then we are really, at the moment, focusing on the south of Wales. And then we're going to go into mid Wales. And then we're going to head up to North Wales. So at the moment, we're just finishing off the south of Wales. Like I said, tomorrow is Cardiff. And our next week on the 8th is going to be Bridgend. And then I think we're going to Tenby after that. We're going to squeeze in Tenby and we're going to try and do that area. We've done quite a lot in the south. And we also have lovely cakes, which is so exciting. And I'm hoping we're going to have some cakes tomorrow in Cardiff, are we?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
maybe.
But just to say, for Rogue, on the 8th, it's going to be at the Mackworth pub in Bridgend. So if you're in that area, if you're in Port Talbot area, come and meet us. You'll have a great time. We have a bit of fun as well. I share a few things. You can ask questions. It's very informal, sociable, because really that's what we're about. We like people. We don't like politicians. We like people.
Maria, if you are a member, sorry to interrupt, Rich, but Maria, if you are a member, we do send out an email blast to every one of our members in Wales to let you know what we're doing. So if you're not a member, it's £10 tonight and £20 tomorrow. So get in tonight, and then you'll be able to get the emails. So,
and I think so. Coming back on that as well, the reason some people, we've had some questions asked, what about the North Wales gets left out? Listen, trust me, North Wales will not get left out, right? Or mid Wales as well for that reason. But because Wales, many of you will know, because under the poor leadership of Welsh Labour, not wanting to build any roads, which is freaking crazy. You know, the way that it's spread out so big. You look at the size of Powys, and then you've got North Wales and Wrexham, and then you've got South Wales with the valleys, and then the coastal areas like Llanelli and Swansea and the Gower and Tenby and Pembrokeshire. So what we've tried to do is strategically, and because we're a very small team and we're volunteers, none of us are paid. We're completely doing this like everybody else is around the country. We're volunteers who believe in the cause. So what we've done is we've done it in the south of Wales because we were doing 3 launches. The first one, as Rogue has already mentioned earlier this evening, is going to be in Newport on the 1st of November. Now, how can they get their tickets for this, Rogue?
I'm going to send the email blast out. And
when?
It's on Eventbrite tonight. Straight after this, I'm going to do my big email blast, and you all have that luxury, I will say, as a member to be able to get it first. So we're really encouraging everybody who is a member, who wants to come to the event and the launch for Wales, and join in with us, because it's about family. This is exactly what Paul was saying. It's all about a family. Show up. You're a part of our family now. Yeah. We are family. And that's the most beautiful thing about this.
And I think if people who are not the members, how can they get the tickets as well? I think people would like to know that on the website.
Well, at the minute, we have to give it to members first.
All right, okay.
It's really important that we actually sort of like give them that kind of connection to us, really, isn't it? Because it you know, they've invested, they've given their money's worth, they've said, look, you know, we believe in the party, and this is our thank you to them, and saying this is who we are, this is what we're doing. So I think it's really important that we do that. But if go on, Rich,
no,
you're desperate to say it. Come on.
No. I was just going to say everything you're saying is absolutely brilliant. Carry on. It was. Go on, I was.
Oh, Adam, I'm going to go to Adam now.
Right. So let me come back in then. I was going to say something. I'm so sorry, Rogue. What I was going to say is I think it's important that we let people know what we're doing is, of course, we're having these meet and greets, which are small meetings, informal social gatherings in pubs all around. So we meet people, right? Then we're having the launch on the 1st of November in Newport. Location will not be disclosed. We can't tell anybody where it is until obviously just prior before the event. People will know in enough time, members especially. And the reason for that is what Rogue's already said. And I want to emphasize that it's the members only meeting to start with. But, however, we will be holding some very big rallies next year. Of course, we're coming up to Christmas, not too far away. Did I mention Christmas then? Sorry about that. We will be holding some big rallies where it'll be open to the public. And I'm expecting thousands of people to come to all these different rallies. I really am, to come along to hear speakers who are part of Advance UK, not just, you know, those in senior positions, but people who've got stories, to come along and hear what has to be said. And then we'll get people to join, and I'm sure they will. So we will be traveling the whole of Wales and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And we'll be doing that as well. So keep an eye on your emails tonight, because Rogue is, I know she's ready to press that button. I know
I'm ready to press it.
She's ready. So
let's go down to Adam. So Adam's saying, is there any Advance UK merchandise yet to help advertise this? So yes, there is. We have, again, on the shop, we have T-shirts, we have caps, we have beanies. Obviously in Wales at the event, we're going to be having a lot of merch. Which is more specific to Wales, so it depends which part of the country you're in, but we're going to be doing that. So there is merch out there, and it is important that we all wear it to basically, again, get ourselves recognized. You know, this is my face, it's not just Ben's face. I am Advance UK, you are Advance UK, and that's the important thing, that this is just not about Ben, it's about each and every one of us that are creating that momentum of power.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a tattoo of Ben on my chest, but yeah, just
have his face there instead.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sharon, that's amazing. You can come make some tea. She's ace. No, listen, we'd love to be able to have people just kind of volunteer, even if it's leaflet dropping, you know, and the thing is, you know, I want to go back to the question that the woman asked earlier about actually what is it that we want in people, you know, to sort of stand and actually it's people with passion. It's people who are doing stuff in the community. So like, you know, what Sharon just said, you know, Go and make cups of tea for your next door neighbours. Take them some food and get yourself known. Like, you know, back in the day when I used to go to church, we used to have something called pot bless. And we used to literally all have different bits of food that we take round to each other. And it was about community. And I think what we have lost is community. And I think if we as Advance can come together and offer that community again, that is again so instrumental in bringing your own little community together, and actually that will empower you in moving forward in standing. And I think it's just so important that we recognize it's the little things that count, not like Rich said, standing there, you know, there's like, look at me, there's grandeur, I'm an imperial now, darlings. We don't want that. We want, here you go, here's, you know, let's take you on, get a minibus and get people to go away who can't go away. Let's do stuff that is actually interactive, you know, with people, that brings everybody together.
Yeah, I've been doing that as well. I've been giving out leaflets wherever I can, obviously in Swansea. And I remember there are a few people who looked at me and they literally point out the picture of Ben on the leaflet, saying that, do you know this guy? He's going to deport you. Do you know that? And you're promoting. I was like, what can you do about these people? So I was like, you know what? You know, I'm just like, yeah, I still keep distributing it. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Caroline, yeah, if people want to put themselves forward to be candidates, how do they go about it? Well, thank you for your question, Caroline. Very good one it is. I think we might have covered something earlier, but I'll just go over it quickly. I mean, with candidates at the moment, we don't currently have.
Sorry, did you hear that?
I did say quickly, yeah. If we go for a Welshman, isn't it? Obviously, we're looking to 2029. Of course, we've got time to do that, and vetting for candidates takes some process. So if you want to put yourself forward as a candidate, what you can do is just let us know. If you're in Wales in particular, and you can make one of the meet and greets, or you come to the actual launch itself, make yourself known to myself or Rogue, you know, come and speak to us and say, look, I'd like to be considered a candidate in the future. We'll take your details. We'll take it away. We've got a book of people. We're already having people come to us at the meet and greet, Rogue, aren't we, and saying, look, I'd love to stand in the elections, you know, as a candidate, and we'll take your details and we'll treat it with respect, and everyone's equal and we treat everyone the same. So we would take that seriously. And so if you want to stand in the future, let us know. But at the moment, of course, we're not looking at it. We're not in an election cycle. So we're not currently looking for candidates, but you can still say, I'd like to stand in the future. Give us your details and join Advance UK.
And if they're not in Wales?
Well, if they're not in Wales, they can contact head office. And I think there's an email on our website, I do believe, a contact form on there that you can contact.
It's info at Advance UK.
Info at Advance UK, yeah. Thank you, Rogue. Yeah, so let them know there. Right. Will there be any Christian Cortes party? Well, absolutely, 100%. Amen, I said. I'm going to go first, go quick, and then I'm going to let Rogue speak. Of course, I think what I've noticed about Advance UK, the amount of people that believe in Christianity, the foundations of our country. And I think a lot of people, whether they be cultural Christians, practicing Christians, or just a sense of a moral compass around the whole Western culture that it is Christian, I think that is what we want to restore. We've seen it at the Tommy Robinson rally. Many of the speeches Ben has made talked about the Christian constitution being the basis upon which our parliament should be established and built upon. So that's very important to us. And the spiritual aspect, we need to bring that back into our politics. And on that note, I'm bringing in Rogue.
I think Charlie Kirk has had a massive impact on spirituality. You know, this man, you know, some people hated him, some people loved him, some people were indifferent with him, you know, and I had a love for him because I found him respectful. I found him quirky. I found him funny. I found the way that he responded and reacted is as if he carried God in his heart. You know, there was this real kind of gentleness, but kind of assertiveness. He knew what he was standing up for, and actually his core principles, again, you know, and his foundation was faith. And, you know, again, like when you know how to love and love on a spiritual level, you know then how to treat people, and you know how to respond and be respectful in the way that you converse. And it's the same way that each and every one of us, you know, again, we've been raised with Christian values, and it's so important that we hold those close, because, you know, what other foundation are we seeing at the moment? We're seeing the Fabian society, you know, which is just about destroying, you know, the mere minions like us, you know. But if you have God, and if you have a faith, and if you have like a core structure of love, it's only going to succeed. And that for me is the most important thing, to hold God, you know, at the forefront, but not be super spiritual and all in your face, but to have that real genuine, like, I respect you, you respect me, this is where we're going. Does that make sense?
I think it'd be true to say that you don't have to be a Christian to join Advance UK.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not
Advance
at all.
UK, no, exactly, in it. That's what you're saying. But Advance UK does have at its heart, it has Christian principles, and I think Ben has he's always pushed that, isn't he? Every time he speaks, he always mentions it, and yet he's come from a family where I think his dad was a Muslim, but his mother was a Christian, wasn't he? So, and he's from Pakistan. So, you know, and so when they call us racist as well, I find it ironic, really, when you consider he's a British citizen, born in Pakistan, like yourself, Shab, and yet we're.
And my granddad was Pakistani.
Yeah. I mean, and we're fighting for our country. It's amazing. Richard, my husband.
Okay. Sorry. Go on, Richard. Yeah, that was for you.
I can't read that because it's about myself.
Yeah, that's what I think. So, guys, what I'm going to do, we literally got 2 or 3 more questions, and that's it. Then we're going to wrap it up. It's been 2 hours going on for.
Thank you, Zoe, anyway, for that comment. I really appreciate it.
It was such a good speech, and it was really
an amazing speech,
and everybody was clapping. It was brilliant.
Yeah. So this one quickly, will it be the same?
Just answer that quickly. Yeah. So basically, we live in a nation state. Okay. So everything will be, of course, centralized, but of course there'll be different because of devolution. We will have to work with things differently. So we'll have policies created for Wales that'll be different to England because of the powers that are devolved. But the structure will be the same as England. It has to be uniformed across the board for the Electoral Commission and everything else. So everything will be the same, and it's all run smoothly and it's all done streamlined. But of course, when it comes to policy issues, like for example, in England, you don't have the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. We do in Wales. Gosh. So we would say, scrap that, because I can walk faster. That's what it's called, right? You know, so there are issues that will be different. But of course, we believe in the United Kingdom. Okay, so that's Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, and Wales, all together collectively with one voice and that common aim.
All right. Okay, so this is a 2-part question. It's about this.
Hi guys, I'm on universal credit because I have health conditions. Would I still be eligible to join Advance? I ask because of tax and such. Do you know what? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course you can. If you're listen, the thing we said is if you're a British citizen and you're on the electoral roll, you can join Advance UK.
And it's £10 tonight and £20 tomorrow. Do I have to?
Not tomorrow. After 12 a.m. It's £20 after 12 a.m.
Yeah. What time is it now?
It's 9:30. 9:30.
Oh, you've only got like a few hours just to kind of get it in there.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
You know,
thank you, Baz.
People are asking about Newport. Will Ben be there in Newport on the 1st?
Are you actually? Excuse me. Oh, so bold.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we can tell them what speakers are. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, because I can see it.
You can tell them. Right, Ro, go on then, Ro. I tell you what, Ro, you tell them who the speakers are going to be then. Go on. Tell them. Tell them who the speaker's going to be.
Grace, Ben is going to be there, and we are going to be so happy to have him here in Wales. And he's going to be brilliant. So we've also got Howard Cox. We've also got Paul Burgess, who is on the college, and we have Jim Ferguson, who is the ambassador. So I just think he's the international ambassador, isn't he? So I just think it'd be brilliant to have. Oh, and Rich is speaking.
Oh, wow, that would be amazing.
It will, because he's funny. He brings this like light humor, and everybody just loves to hear him. And he's got his Welsh passion. And you back.
There we go. Well, what we have got now, we got one last question, and that's it. I'll be stopping there. So this is not a question. This is basically just somebody wrote in.
Okay, I'll read it. Advance UK advancing across our nation with people who speak with common sense and love our country and want safety for our children and better future for us all, hopefully. There's no hopefully about it. This is an absolute. And
this is the last question, and that's it. Be done.
Okay, question. Please, what about the big issue of long-term disabled people and veterans who will never be able to work and struggle to get basic care needs and benefits? Everyone just seems to make it harder and cuts. It's true. It's really true. We've seen that. And even like, you know, so the prospects of Nigel Farage, we're sort of like worried around that too. But, you know, in Advance, Ben believes in family. I mean, this Bonk for Britain was like, but he believes in family and he understands obviously sickness, you know, so there is, again, we don't have a policy yet. We're still working on that, you know. However, there is compassion. There is compassion and there is understanding, and obviously we're going to need people in who can actually talk about the the benefit system who have experienced that. And again, that's really important, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah, I think firstly, I mean, look, we all go through life and experience difficulties, and people who are unable to work for a whole number of reasons. And some of those sicknesses and illnesses are unseen. We must remember that not everything is noticeable to people. People have gone through a huge mental health crisis in their lives. Yep. People suffer with all kinds of illnesses that are not visible to the naked eye. And I think it's important that we support our disabled people, absolutely 100%. And those, for whatever reason, find themselves in places. And look, from my personal experience, and I'll say this and be vulnerable, I've done it, it's many speeches. There have been times in my life when I've needed help, literally, because where I've come from. And I've been thankful and grateful for the support I've received. And so with that sense of gratitude, I always believe that we have to give the most vulnerable in society the best chance of succeeding. And so we will fight for them. We will fight for the underdog, as Paul mentioned earlier. We will fight for those that need the support the most. Those with the broadest shoulders should carry the heaviest burdens to help those who cannot help themselves. I've always believed in that. I've believed in doing what's right by working class people, people who don't have enough, there's more month than money, not because they're on benefits abusing the system. We obviously, we all know that's wrong. But there are genuine people out there that will be affected. We saw this under the Labour government when they said they wouldn't take the winter fuel allowance out off our pensioners. And the evil gits did. I mean, they stopped it. I mean, that's just abhorrent, and many other things that they've done as well with raising taxes. And so I'm sure, for me certainly, and I know from us from Wales here, we will be fighting on behalf of every single person that finds themselves in that situation. And the threat of their benefits being taken from them because of the change of government and system. Hey, listen, if we were in power, we would ring fence and make sure you are kept safe, because your safety would be our priority.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. Then this is for you, Richard.
I met Richie years ago in Abertillery at his centre there. I was given a copy of his book and loved it. I haven't seen him for years now, but never forgot him, and so good to see him now.
Oh, thank you ever so much. I hope the book didn't scare you too much.
All right. I think that is it for today. Well, thank you very much for coming, guys, and thank you very much for everybody who's been watching. I think our X posts have been shared just recently by David Atherton, and that's why you got a lot of fraction, you got a lot of people just coming all of a sudden. But unfortunately, it's my fault that I just sent it to him, so he just shared it now.
So Rogue, over to Rogue on the big screen, please, for one big plug. One big plug. What's happening? What's happening on the 1st of November?
It is our first Welsh launch, and we are so excited because we are going to host at a special location, which I'm not allowed to tell you. Isn't amazing? But we're going to have Ben, Howard, Jim, and Richie and Paul Burgess speaking, and it is going to be a day to remember.
Good. And I think you can tell them about tomorrow. What time in Cardiff?
Meet and greet. We've got the meet and greet tomorrow in Cardiff at the Gunner. Is it the Gunners?
The Master and Gunners.
The Master Gunners. Okay. What is the name of the road?
It's on Gabalfa Avenue, 61 Gabalfa Avenue. Look at that for a memory.
That is in Cardiff, and we're doing it from 6 o'clock onwards, and hopefully there's going to be some cakes.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, there'll be cakes on the 1st of November for sure. 100% there will be. But
okay.
Yeah. And then there's another one. Did you say on the 8th? Is it on the 8th?
The 8th
yeah, that's in Bridgend. We're going to Bridgend on the 8th, and then
that's the pub is called the Mackworth in Bridgend.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is also 6 p.m. then, yeah?
Yep. Everything's from 6 p.m. So that all the meet and greets at the same time.
There we go. Any last words before you go, Rogue?
Just lovely to have you on. Thank you for having me on. And it's just great to be with everybody and talk about what we are passionate about, which is being a community and standing behind Ben.
Thank you. And Richard, I'll bring you on before we go. Anything that you would like to say?
How long have I got?
No, just
you've got as long as you want to. Don't worry.
What I would say is, first of all, thank you for hosting this tonight, Shoab, and I know it's across a number of our platforms on the Land of Saints and Sinners, which I'm part of. Me and Jojo, a friend of mine who I've known for years, and Rogue as well. We put it together. I'm glad that Rogue's come on tonight as Land Saints and Sinners, because we want to get that out there as well, because it's kind of different. We're doing Advanced UK, of course, Advanced UK Wales, but we do a podcast like Paul Thorpe and others like yourself as well, because we talk about other subjects as well, current affairs, political issues, all kinds of things. So please subscribe to that channel as well. We'd appreciate that. But Advance UK Wales, of course, we're here. We've got plans. We're excited. The future's great. The future's bright. It's not orange. It's the colours of the Union Jack. And yeah, make sure you get your tickets as the email blast goes out later. And I want to say a huge big thank you to every single one of you who watched tonight. And I hope you join Advance UK while it's £10.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And thank you very much for Richard, Martin, Clark, Paul Thorpe. Obviously, he was there as well. Dave, we had Dave as well on. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And like I said, thank you very much for the guests, for the viewers. And hopefully, we will be doing something soon. And I just wanted to ask you before I go, Richard and Rogue, that would you be talking about digital ID? Because I know a lot of people are interested in knowing about that. And yes, for that, we will have to have another live. We will obviously plan everything. But will this be something that you will be interested in talking about?
Absolutely. We're there because we went to Liverpool. So we'll be there.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care. Look after yourself and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.